What we're here to announce today, or what we're here to support, is our Member of Parliament, Taylor Bachrach, put forward a Parliament Members Bill on lowering the voting age, something we think is fundamentally important, and we believe it'll be a step to strengthen democracy, to encourage more participation, and we've seen great evidence that that's what happens. Young people, 16, at the age of 16, participate in society, they work, they pay their taxes, they are able to drive, they're able to get married, and they should be able to vote. And one of the strongest arguments for why we believe that this is so important is that young people are more than ever going to be impacted disproportionately by the decisions we make today. And some of those decisions include, of course, the climate crisis, which will most directly impact young people. And so they should have a say in what happens. Secondly, the housing crisis, which is one of the biggest crises that as a society we're up against, that is also going to disproportionately impact young people. So those two really crucial questions, young people should have a say in how that is dealt with, how those questions are responded to. So we strongly support this bill. I want to thank Taylor Bachrach for bringing this forward. And of course, it'll have our full support. We want to encourage all members of Parliament to support. It's not a political issue in the sense it's not a partisan issue. It's a political issue in the sense it's one to strengthen our democracy. And we think it's so important to have the support. In that, on that question, we have a special guest, Dr. Jan Ishon, who has specialized or has researched the impact of a younger, lower voting age on democratic participation, and has some strong evidence to support why this will impact not just young people's participation, but their participation moving forward as well. So a really strong case to be made around why this is so important.
Don't do something I don't like doing, but do like a double-barreled question here. And one is for you, Mr. Singh, and one is for Jan. So I'll start with you, Mr. Singh, around the voting age. Forgive me for maybe having a cynical approach here, but obviously you have made a very big push from your from a political strategy point of view. You're on TikTok. You're constantly appealing to younger voters, and you even got criticism for being on social media so much and attracting voters or people in Canada that frankly aren't voting age. So, you know, lowering the voting age to 16 may actually benefit you politically. So why should, you're saying this is a bipartisan, multi-partisan effort, why should other political parties sort of side with you here, since there seems to be a political strategy to target younger Canadians to bring them into your movement, and now you're also advocating for a lower voting age? For Jan, did you do it with your studies? Do you do anything that would talk about an informed electorate? And are there any criticisms for lowering the voting age around an informed electorate? I ask this sort of in the context of we're living in a bit of a post-truth world. We see a lot of, you know, misinformation flying around all the time. Now, that can affect people who are above 16 and above 18. I realize that, but I'm wondering if there's anything in your research that has talked about the concerns over an informed electorate if you lower the voting age. Sorry for the double-barreled question. I'll let you speak.
Thanks. I'll start and then I'll pass it to Dr. Ishon. So what we found, and what Dr. Ishon will also corroborate and perhaps add on, is that we know there's a troubling trend, and Taylor brought this up as well, around the lowering participation of first-time voters. And if we believe in democracy, there's threats to democracy around the world. If we want to strengthen our democratic system, this is a question of how do we get more people to participate now and in the future. The evidence is very overwhelming. The Scottish example, but also, as was pointed out in Germany, Latin America, and other countries, that lowering the voting age just increases participation. And to do that is something I think everyone who believes in democracy supports. We of course want to win elections, so that's always something that we want to do because we want to provide better help to people and better representation. But the question of lowering the voting age really is a fundamental question of how do we strengthen our democracy. It's one